All right, so came today. Already doing this kind of wrong. For those of you who already don't know, of course, both of you two already do know. This is opinionated, of course, for Resla. Hi, I am Resla, and on this particular channel, we talk about a lot of different things, but we mainly go into all kind of diverse perspectives. We like to break down a lot of narratives that we hear around either in media or the things that we either hear about ourselves or reading the things that we hear on a regular day basis. And we have to really challenge the fact that are these the things that we are normally thinking about, or have we heard these things so much and we're subjected to it that now we think that it's part of our normal thinking? I also like to talk about a myriad of other things, but also, when I actually start these streams, you can also take a look into the description box. I kind of put down a little bit as to what's going to be going on in the stream, and as well as a bit of a disclaimer so that you guys pretty much know what you're getting into, what the show is kind of like, what the platform is kind of like, and how we're going to be moving around for the future. Um, while I was really thinking about a lot as to what the structure of the actual show was going to be like, yes, the echo is gone because I took myself out of the system. It seems to happen only when I'm inside the system for some reason. Uh, but the thing about the taking myself outside the system is that I cannot really, I can't really monitor how loud or how low I actually am. So therefore, I need to go in and listen to the actual stream to find that out on my own. Crazy enough, but that's just the way it is right now. Yeah, so I was trying to figure out how exactly I'm going to be Joe. So here's what I pretty much come down to. I'm going to be looking at my writing. All right, so I want to come in when I actually bring up what the actual topics are, what the actual topic are, and from the main topic there will be a subset of smaller topics are maintaining around that. From there, depending on what kind of actual show that it is, it will be one where basically we are either having a conversation, really talking about that. There will be a little bit of interaction with you guys in the chat. And then on top of that, if depending on the kind of subject it is, we would actually have people come up for segments, reviewing stuff that's going on. I may have some videos going up. It may be some articles going up. It may be just a matter of actual just having conversation with perspectives with different people that's up there. Afterwards, which what we'll do is we will have either, no matter how you look at it, you'll have the panelists up there. If they want to, they can also engage with me as we also take on different questions or different formats and areas, and we will answer whatever kind of questions that are coming about, whether it's questions from the panelists themselves or it's questions that are coming from the chat, and we'll kind of just bounce a little back and forth from that. At the end, I will kind of give a one-on-one to figure out where exactly are we still leaning when it comes to each of the panelists from there. And then we'll close out with some final thought, but a final thought from me. And then we'll be pretty much ending the stream from there. When I started thinking about some things for today, as you can see from the title, it was why do they assume? And I started writing down a whole bunch of stuff. So the thing that came to mind was why do they assume? And when I say they, I mean just us in general. When we tend to have conversations with people, right? And this is not everybody. Some people are a little bit more astute in their conversational skills or whatever. But one of the things that I tend to notice a lot is people, based on their own experiences, will believe that the people that they're speaking with have the same set, either the same mindset as they do, or they believe that they should know the same things that they do. And that's not necessarily true. In fact, it's not true for a lot of people. So when I thought about the actual idea of people and they're doing their reframing of the mind and how they're speaking to people, and also all the situation that they're in when they're speaking to them about it, I kind of started thinking, what exactly are assumptions based off of, and why do we keep doing them on a normal basis? So as I was doing a little bit of research about it, it's really something that became instinctual over time. And we really had to come about a process of being in the olden times of growing up and became part of our actual um, neural network to figure out to determine and to discern whether we were going to be in a fight or flight instance from olden times. So say you're an old person moving through the Serengeti or whatever, and you're coming across some bushes that are rattling. Well, you have to make some quick assumptions in your life. Whether this was going to be a lion coming out the bushes to come get you, or whether it could have been nothing. And we make assumptions about people all the time. Whether we assume that they have the same knowledge that we do, this person is beautiful. We make assumptions all the time when it comes to people. And I guess what in my mind is that because we already make assumptions, we make preconceived notions based on our own experiences, not on the experience that we're currently having with people, we tend to say to them, or rather, we tend to write narratives pre-recorded, pre-experienced narratives about the people that we're actually interacting with or the group that we're discussing. And that's not necessarily a good thing because we get to lose out on a lot of key information or key experiences that we could be having going forward. And actually, it puts into our mind also that we tend to know more than we actually do in the moment. So, the problem that we have with the reframing of narratives, right? And the reframing of assumptions that we place on these narratives that it walls us off. It walls us off when it comes to communication. It walls us off when it comes to, I want to say the word empathy, but a lot of people don't like the word empathy. That seems to trigger them, leaks or whatever. And they start a conversation with you. And you're already forming opinions in your head. You're having this long conversation with them, and then they walk out the office, and you realize you never really did get down to the heart of the matter. Were you even really listening to them? Were you even, prescribing the right advice to them if they were even asking for advice? You were kind of already nodding your head and, okay, yep, sure, yep, okay, gotcha. Because you already felt like you already knew what was going to happen to find out that when they walk out the door, nothing got solved and you're not even really sure what was the issue about. That happens. What's good, OG? Thanks for stopping by. And this happens with us. It happens to all of us. So I guess the best thing that we should try to think about is how exactly does it start? And in what way do we actually refrain from actually doing so that we can get better insight into the people and the situations that we're in? Those who tend to think they know it all tend to make a lot of mistakes as well. Then there's also, like I said, the stereotypes that actually come along with it. You know, we'll do a big one. Uh, Part of a video that I was recording for myself earlier was the idea of what I was going to be looking at when I was starting an actual channel. Against popular belief, I am a black male. No, shocker. Oh my goodness. Say it isn't so. Yeah, it's so. I'm a black male. The point that I'm making is that there are people who would turn around and see this black face, this chocolatey skin, and they automatically think that the channel was going to be a black channel. That's an assumption that's being made. Just because you see a dark skinned face doesn't mean it becomes a dark skinned channel. Doesn't mean that predominantly the people that will be around will be dark skinned and that it will cater only to dark skinned people. But we tend to see this when it comes to a lot of areas when it comes to media. Um, a good example of that, yes, Kai, I actually am. I am Negro. I actually am. Believe it or not. The problem with the problem with that is a lot of people will assume, and if you're not actually stating the case ahead of time, kind of like how I am right now, people will tend to come along and then profile you. They'll ask you a series of questions to try to make sure that if you are or not. For instance, Another thing that happens, like just because you talk about black issues doesn't make you a blackity black, right? But a lot of people will think otherwise. And that's a false narrative that's already been placed in their head based on assumptions or based on the experience that they've had of being in other spaces, channels, or even dealings in their own personal life that brought them to those conclusions. Maybe they are around friends and families, and this is the only thing they really do. And therefore, it becomes a regular occurrence in their life to thinking that when they meet new people and have new experiences, that they could be sharing, that they could be experiencing in that moment, they've already created narratives, assumptions that bar them from having those experiences. Another one, if you want to talk about bad stereotypes, is when, and we've all heard it, whether we experience it ourselves or not, but when we have someone who is non-black, I'll just say it for anyone who's looking around who's black, and they say, "Wow, like you're not what I expected. You're one of the good ones." What the F does that mean? Well, what were their narratives? What were their assumptions prior to meeting other dark skinned people? It's the perception that's being put out there. Now, there are plenty of upstanding and good dark skinned people. Again, not, but a narrative could be painted based on popular perceptions of people, popular culture, you could even say, and the things that we just fed on a regular basis. And again, this becomes another narrative that needs to be broken down because those are the few, believe it or not. They're not the many. But what can I say? When you are on your phone, when you're on your laptop, when you're sitting at your desk, and these are the things on a day to day basis, you tend to believe that this is the majority. And it's not. And it calls into question fear, the fear of things that we're going to be experiencing now and also for the future. A big assumption, and I wish I thought about this, it's now just ringing in my head, should really start going about labeling all of the actual fears and assumptions that pretty much every culture pretty much pushes forward or wishes they didn't have. And I'll have to think about that, and I'll have to ask a whole bunch of people of different nationalities in order to get a better basis of it. But I tend to see a lot of posturing when it comes to being made in different cultures, and I just always find it pretty funny because most of the people who I run into aren't about that life. They're not about the things that they're talking about. They're not about the things that are claimed to be a normal occurrence because they say, "I know I don't have any experience with that." And it's interesting, at least to me, how we're told what we are like prior to anyone ever having any experience with us on a regular basis. And this is how it happens throughout not just our culture, not just our country. There is a set of mindfulness that's not being put into place. And it hinders us all over the board, whether you are dealing with family, whether it is your political beliefs, whether you are in a professional setting. It's it's something that just needs to get thrown out altogether. And I guess in my view, we have to look at the balancing and efficiency of being open minded. So I guess the question for a lot of people would be, how do we go about that? How does one practice being open minded? Well, first of all, I would just say when you start having a conversation with other people, you start having a conversation and you already start feeling that you know what's going to happen next. I was I was out throughout most of the week, to be honest with you. But while that's not an excuse for you, it was an excuse for me that I should have done better on. And I don't know. Doing all this is really new to me because now you have to factor in other things. I can't tell you how other creators do it or how other people who with regular lives are able to put it together. And I commend them for it. it's something I'm learning about, and now I gotta put it to pen and paper and put it in my journal because there is a balancing act that I'm realizing, and it takes a lot of dedication. So kudos to you who already been doing it. So what do we think of some practical tips that sure everything is acting weird? Yeah, I'm seeing that now. Something was just going crazy, and actually that could be restream as well. I'll have to really look into that. I will say this much: the next stream will not be. Yeah, I'm seeing it. Yeah, next stream will not be restream like at all. The Tesla face. No, not the Tesla face. No, I'm not annoyed. I'm not annoyed. And to be honest with you, like I said, I wanted to turn this into a video, but it didn't turn out that way. I just said I wanted to go live because I didn't do it. Most of all because I said I have certain things already plotted down that said I need to explain it. I need to explain the set of ways that I would like to go down when it comes to stream, this channel. And it's a weird balancing act. And I said if I don't do it now, I probably won't do it later. And that's because for anyone who knows, especially for everyone who's already here in the chat, that I can procrastinate because I am looking for something to be perfect. Well, close to perfect. I would like something to just work. I hate when things just mess up right there when you're supposed to get it going. I'd rather everything mess up prior to it taking place. But such is life. Such is life. There's not much I can really do about that. But I try to keep as much as in control as I can. Not because I'm perfect, but because I'm trying to make sure that everybody else has good quality as well. That's also I, as you can tell, on Saturday I seem to be posting around the late evening or whatever. That's not by design, not at all. It's simply the only time I really found myself being open, where no one is really bothering me. I don't have any calls coming in. Speaking of calls, I need to make sure that I take care of my notifications so that's not coming in. No one's really bothering me. I don't have any weird notifications coming in. It just popped up being that way. However, it may not be the best opportune moment for people to notice the conversation that's happening here. And keep in mind, it's the weekend as well. Most people are probably getting bent over somewhere. Just, just being honest. Hanging out with friends, they're playing Scrabble, they're doing Pictionary, they're playing Connect Four, you know, they're playing Strip Jenga. They're not being on the internet and hearing some black guy talk to them about being rational. It's not really a thing. It's not. People want to be engrossed in the limelight of being excited, and it's only meant for people who are really looking for into that. In fact, I can tell you that there's probably some content creators that are already up, especially itinerary played out just for that. And again, kudos to them. They know exactly who their audience is, and that's great. Which is why I think a whole lot about targeting, using videos and not necessarily live streams. But it takes a lot of focus. It takes a lot of time and just really reeling into it. And even if I do the entire video, let's not even talk about the actual editing process. There's no crew. It just takes a whole lot of time to do it yourself to make sure that you have your own kind of style into it. Because why? You'll look like everybody else. Anyway, I was hoping that when I did this stream, when I was talking about this particular topic, right, that I would have everything set out. It would be something that we can bring up people, we can actually talk about, and we'll probably just have to do a part two to this, to be honest with you, because this is something that I really want to tackle as well, because it's something that we all do a lot, like a lot, and I don't think a lot of us are really mindful of it. And it also gives me an idea of how I can put this all together for a lot of different people as well. Because I'm not only just new to this, but also because I'm at this particular time, which I'm actually doing a stream on. Yep. And because I don't have a lot of people, I can't really say what the algorithm is pushing out. By the way, I was doing a video about the algorithm itself, or questioning a lot about what the algorithm actually is. And yeah, so I can't say a lot of people are going to be able to even reach this, to be able to have an ideal so that we can go back and forth. Because the ideal of actually putting together this particular channel itself is that it's not solely built on what I just want to convey to other people. It's actually a whole big conversation between myself, between anyone who is bold enough to come up and have that conversation with me, to listen to the perspective of people who are actually talking in the chat, what they actually think about things. It's a whole big thing. I could go about the whole way of just talking about things myself, but I ramble enough to myself every day. And I mean every day. I wanna I like coming online so that I don't have to actually ramble to myself, because I get distracted very easy. I don't know if it's an ADHD thing or whatever, but I can't just focus on one thing like I used to. When I was younger, it's no problem. Laser focused. Now I have to split my attention in order to stay focused. So I think this is going to be a conversation for something that's going to be brought up again in the future, because I do have an idea of some other topics that I want to bring up again. I'm not too sure if they'll be on a singular topic or it will have to be different topics brought up at a time. Again, there are people who are better at it than I am. I am trying to figure it out. And now I've got a little bit more of a focus, because now I have a much larger window that's open for me, apparently. And I don't know. As well, you guys let me know if you think that the strategy that I'm trying to put in place, at least for the show, I'm not talking about beating the algorithm, not talking about beating other creators, just for what I have in place is a decent structure for myself. And now I believe that we all know we can say F restream for the moment, because it's not going to really be working out. And I'll definitely have to do some more, tinkering around to make sure that that was actually the problem or not. I didn't even really factor that one in. Again, the more you know. Am I still buffering really badly? Because I can see my other screen and it's going crazy. I have one screen, looks okay. Other screen looks absolutely nuts. Like flickering in and out. I think it's like the fourth time. That one just started buffering now. Insane. And the sad part about it is that it says, here's what it says. Your connection is excellent. The lies you tell me. This is a bad relationship right off the bat. You're telling me I'm excellent, but you're telling me I have bad buffering. Oh, it says I'm good now? That's not what I'm seeing. I am still framed over here. And over here, I'm moving. So I don't know which one it is. Somebody's lying to me. Now it says I'm fair. I was excellent. Now I'm fair. Because I started talking ish about it. Now I'm fair. That's listen. I try. I try. I try. And it's still not moving, but yet it says excellent, then it says fair, and it's still not moving. So we're done with that. By the way, the screen I'm looking at, that one was restreamed. The other screen I'm looking at is actual YouTube, which is moving. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, so I know it's restreamed. Um, that's at least giving me that issue. But as far as YouTube, YouTube seems to be moving. Again, we live and we learn. Normally, I go on restream to test out stuff, but I had a bit of a hiccup the last time I tried it. OG was there to witness that one. I don't know what that was about, but it also lied to me, just like it's lying to me now. Uh, I will try to figure out the best time to be streaming. I think, and let me know if this is a decent idea. Let me know if this is a decent idea. So, because my sleep schedule is all over the place, and if I'm going to be consistent with this, then unfortunately, I gotta treat this like a job. I don't want to do that, but it seems like that might need to be the best course of action. And I'm a person who, you guys who already know me, I'm a person that's up at nighttime. So should I consider doing my streaming overnight? What do you think? Because I could get up early in the daytime and do so, but I'm wondering if my target audience would be someone who is more either overnight or early morning weekends, even though the weekends, believe it or not, is when I have the most time. It's crazy. But or I just need to figure out what would be the best time frame to actually do it, because I'm trying to figure out a content schedule. When is a good time to actually record content? What's a good time to actually edit? Because I don't edit and record the same day. It's too much. When is a good time to do all that stuff? Because it's it's different when you have a set schedule, say um, for just streaming, which is cool. But I'm still learning the aspect of curating content. And that's something that I just want to make sure that if there's anyone who has an idea or something I'm not even thinking about, put it out. Because quite frankly, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. And I'm not sure who I can reach or who's actually interested. And I know that there are, when I speak to some people, at least out in the streets, they find it interesting. But yeah, I gotta also keep stuff to myself because, quite frankly, I need to figure this stuff out. Not that great. Hell, writing out all this stuff is typing out all this stuff is a pain in the ass, to be honest with you, because the research I can always find good and then opposing research, and then I always have to scrutinize the research that I'm going into. Maybe I should just look at this the same way how I look at a lot of things that I do, more of a like a psychological eye, and just run it from there. But I'm also realizing what kind of creator that I'm pushing towards trying to be, and I that's why I want more. I want more of an analysis type thing, but at the same time, I like actually speaking with people. This is why I'm always having the mindset of always trying to have a one on one or a discussion, a group discussion on based on things. But as far as curation, that's something I need to get stronger at, which is why I'm trying to learn a whole lot on that aspect. I don't know how you guys are on for so long, and I guess it does. It gets easier when you have, it gets easier over time as you do it. You know, it's just a matter of, I guess, if you're online and you review a lot of stuff a lot of times. Me, I'm not really online as much as I would. Do I want to say like to be? Do I want to say like to be? Uh, that's probably pushing it a little bit. I'm not online as much as I would like to be, and I don't really follow or even if I do have trends that pop up, I don't really like to get on them because they're things that I'm not necessarily interested in, which is weird. It's weird and it's not weird because I don't know how my algorithm got pushed that way, but it is what it is. So, and that's my crutch word, by the way. I already been through that a whole long time ago. The takeaways that I'm having when it comes to assumptions that people really need to be, it doesn't get easier. Uh, well, well, shit. Oh well, I guess that is a reason that I also need to learn things as well. Because if it doesn't get easier, how are there people who are able to sustain it? It's not to allow it to become mature. Huh? I didn't think about that when I have to think about it. Become mature. Because in my mind, if you're going to be doing this, I would assume, I would assume that you would make this particular content. You would make particular content that you actually like to do, and therefore it wouldn't become a joy. It wouldn't become mature because it's actually something that you enjoy. I think it becomes a chore. Again, I don't actually know, but I think it becomes a chore when you have people who are expecting you to be a particular way or have particular content, and it may not be something you actually like. It got you the ticket, to shoot off, and now you're stuck doing that because it's the thing that's bringing you attention. Okay, that I would agree with that. I will agree to that judgment. I think it does get easier over time because now you're able to know what's locked into place and you know what steps to take ahead of time. Hmm, interesting. Making sure you stay unique. That's that's the idea of where I'm at. I would like to be in that lane. Just staying unique to the way that I want it to be. At the same time, I always have to make sure how is it going to be entertaining to other people. And I haven't quite figured it out because I don't even know how to answer that. I don't know how to answer the because. That's weird. I don't know how to answer the because the moment I say the reason, it's a lie. It's a lie. So I I don't know what to say about that. It's it's difficult to keep it's difficult to keep people's attention on topics that they don't necessarily need to be serious, but to make them in an entertaining way that will keep the retention rate. And no, I don't think I would let it get to me. I think it's just better when I also look at it this way. When it comes to dealing with online content, right? It's unless you have a particular niche that focuses dead on the thing that you're working on. If you are streaming, because like I said, when it comes to content, it's easier to manage things when you are doing it by yourself and it's in the video. When it comes to streaming, it's very weird to hold it all on what you're doing and not on something that you're necessarily reviewing. And I've been looking around to see who does that best. And like, so far, I haven't found it because the first thing that we all hear about in the streaming world, outside of video game streaming, the streaming world is the abuse of other people's content. And fair use doesn't seem to hold up for a lot of people. So who's doing it the right way, and how exactly is that something that's not being picked up? So I'm always trying to think about, I'm running an assessment to try to figure out what's the way that's being done, how is it doesn't violate, you know, the rules. Because the rules change and the rules get more strict. I have some weird things that I was looking at today. I was like, oh, that'd be interesting to bring up. And then I thought about, well, putting it up there would be subject to a possible flag. Don't really want to worry about that. I think the only way to really have uniquely me content would be doing it in a way that it would be videos. It would be videos or shorts, but streaming is very difficult. But even I can say that streaming would be the way to go. And the idea of just I think it would be easier over time and as we grow as a community. That's just the way how I look at it. No, you can tell me if I'm right or am I wrong or am I leading in the wrong direction. Am I digging in the wrong dumpster? Hmm. I'm going off of what I see and whether I think it's a proper strategy or not. Keep in mind, all of this is new to me. And that's another reason why I find it exciting in a way. It I'm I spend a lot of time writing, trying to make sure that I'm trying to be as concise as possible. But I realize the moment I'm online, you get to see how I think in real time. That's the truth. You see how I think in real time, and you notice I do a lot of pausing, or I'm always trying to, oh, let me stop because I didn't really, and that's the way I move. Believe it or not, even when I'm thinking, I can see the words in front of me, and I only have a certain amount of time to pick out the words that I want to say. And if that word goes away and I didn't see it in time, I'm stumbling. It's weird, but that's just the way how my mind works from time to time. I can see them, but that's just me. Anyway, I think it's very important that people practice mindfulness. I think that this is definitely a topic that will come up in the future because I have other things that I would like to bring up on that. I do have a particular video that I'm looking at to cover what exactly are some issues that we're having when it comes to the assumptions. Oh, that would be great. Uh, the assumptions what people look at when it comes to things in the media, whether it's social media or how we look at things when it comes to attention. And I think that's going to be for the next one. It will be a lot better if I didn't have to run into the house last moment to actually do that. So that's my fault. That has nothing to do with anyone else. Quite frankly, I'm just happy that you guys popped up. Huh, insightful am I? Huh. We'll see about the insightful part because the insightful tends to come with either me being rather peeved at something in my mind, or when I'm not overthinking it, which is another reason why I drink a bit. So I don't think as much so that the first thing that flies out of my mouth, which is not always the correct, and it tends to be easier for me because I don't care to scrutinize myself as much. So what are we gonna say? Every time before you get on the freaking stream, it's like how I am when I get on a plane. You got to drink before you do it. Well, that'll be something for my liver. Can't be doing that now. I can't. One, I'll go broke. Alcohol is very expensive. And I think over time I won't be in a good place. Hell, I probably fall asleep on stream. Hmm. Anyhow, uh, which is amazing to me, by the way. I find it really amazing that I can see people who do that. I was looking at a stream of a young lady that literally while she, it was on Twitch. It was on Twitch. Literally while she's on stream, she gets up, she goes right to bed and puts the blanket over her, and everybody's watching her. Nobody clicked off. Everybody's still watching on stream. She literally hopped into bed, put the blanket over, and she just looked staring at the screen. And I'm like, what? You want a Tesla show once a week? Oh, I don't know. I only think about really doing a stream once a week, and that week has to be the day of Tesla. Oh my goodness, that might be too much. That might be too much for me. That might be too much. I don't know about that. I don't know about that guy. To see about that one. I got a problem just getting my videos out. We talking about a whole stream of me just being lit. Shoot. You say it's weird and it's crazy, but damn for sure, if she didn't have like freaking 20, I think it was like either four, I can't remember, it might have been somebody else, but it was like 14 or 20,000 people watching her. That was it. And she went from talking to them to leaning back in her chair to getting up and hopping in that bed. He said, "Yes, sir." Oh no. I'll see if I got his number. I don't know. I'll have to see if I got his number. But yeah, that that's pretty much what I've got. For some reason, and it's weird. Well, it's not weird. It's just the structure in which I write things. I try to write things out, and I try to figure out in my mind how long am I going to hold that, right? And I realize not very long because I move very quickly in my head. So, hmm, do I? Nope, that won't work either. Hmm, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's something that I move quickly in my head, which has always been why I've been very good at speaking with other people because I can always bounce a conversation off. For me, I've gotten so used to myself that it would be weird for me to hold a long conversation, not well, by myself for one, but stringing out that conversation because I like to think very concise. So even if I write something long, I end up breaking that thing down and I talk to it pretty quickly. It's a catastrophe for me. I think fast. I think fast. I try not to think to talk slow, and I move from there. And because I try to think concise, I'm not even really rambling and having to recorrect myself or anything, which would be very confusing for you guys, by the way. You can already see I'm already rambling in my head. So let me stop that right now. But yeah, I'm always trying to figure out a new way to do it, and in a way that doesn't necessarily break character for me, because you get authentically me all the time. This is me, and I get it. Some people they get very good. They could be be an insightful person, and they do all this stuff, and they at the end of the day, no one really knows who they are. I I'm not good at playing a character. I've played that too long for being me. It has been a while since I played somebody else. So I am comfortable with myself. Even when you get quote Tesla, that's still me. Believe it or not. It's just me with the few of the shackles taken off. And for the most part, I am the way that I am because I developed to be this way. I don't really don't know how to break it out. Break it off by myself. And maybe I should look at that. Maybe that's a little bit of character development that I could do for myself. How to how to by myself be able to take off shackles so that I can be more insightful, as you put it. But no, for the most part, I tend to be composed because I tend to listen to understand. Because I realize that when I am like that, I am not really interested in listening too much. I will, but not too much, not to the degree that I do normally. That's the kind of guy. Actually, that's the kind of guy my girlfriend likes. Because I am an asshole, but I'm quick with it. So yeah, yeah. I don't know. we'll have to find a new way to get that going. But that's all that I really have because I have, like I said, everything else I have set up for me is all over the place. I've got like my last count is that I have 12 windows up, so that's probably the reason why there's a bit of buffering issue too. But like I said, I see Restream has died now, and YouTube is still moving. YouTube is still alive and moving. Restream has died, so I already closed Restream out. But like I said, I came in, I rushed, I sat down, kind of just took the cold off of me, turned on the heater, and I started with you guys. That's pretty much it. And as I've said before, I want to do everything that I can to make things better, but I just need a actual schedule now. And once I have a schedule together, I can I can put more time into the things that really matter because then I can know where it's really important. I just need to know first, when am I going to be posting? Big one for me. How did you guys figure out the times that you wanted to post, and why were those the best times to post for you? I'm guessing it's based on either your occupation or just when you noticed that you looked at your analytics to see when people were coming on. I'm assuming it's that, being that a lot of the people from you guys channels, or at least people who they're all over the place. You're not pulling from one particular sector, so I guess you figured that out over time through analytics. Um, I don't know. I I'll figure it out over time. It's not a problem. It's not a rush to anything. It's just a matter of me finding a window that will always work for when I do things, and that I can always be up for because my central clock is off. My central clock is absolutely off since my last gig, which is why I'm wondering if I should do things overnight, and we'll see from there. Do you guys got any questions for me? Just wondering. Actually, this is a great opportunity for me to do this right now because and I can find which window it was. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm like losing track of all my windows and everything. It's not that. It's not that. Where are you? Okay. So, what I thought I could find, I cannot find. All right. Never mind. Never mind about that. All right. I hope it is a good plan. It's the way I wrote it out is the way that I know it would work for me, and I think it would be engaging for people because anything that needs I put it in a way that we hear my initial thoughts of it. We can go over the material. Everybody will have a chance to be able to get their perspectives out. If they have a chance that they want to double down on what they already know, or if they learn anything different, they can absolutely state that as well. And then we can just have a talk as to what exactly, even if my point of view has changed, and we can go from there. That's just the best way how I look at it because I think about it as to how a good, honest, authentic conversation should be had. Somebody should start it. If there's any challenges, we should go from there. If there's any agreements, that's cool as well. And then how exactly do we hang that all up? Because in my perspective, it's always about the viewer. I could do this for myself, but that wouldn't be entertaining at all. So, not from my point of view. And again, It's the reason why I know I have people that call me because they want to know things, and I'm like, I'm not great at this stuff. They're always the one that tell me that I'm shortchanging myself. So outside of that, it is a short vid, short stream, short. Again, you have to get used to this kind of stuff. Believe it or not, you know what was the thing that took me the shortest amount of time of everything else? Throwing together that damn thumbnail. I literally 3 minutes, probably less than 3 minutes. I just said, here, do this, and that's exactly what I did. Normally, I want to take more time to figure out thumbnails, but I'm realizing that I'm going to have to do something to plan for that. I should probably plan for the thumbnails prior to even doing the stream. Um, but yeah, that's where we are. Gang, thank you for taking the time for actually coming in to the stream. Thank you. Always, I appreciate the love and the support, and hopefully that we do well with each other in the future. I like to do kind of like training screens for myself, but I can't trust everything now because they'll turn around and throw me up there saying I'm live and I'm not. So I got to figure out how am I going to do this without doing that. And I really want to do more because I think it's going to be a good system that we bring up over time, and I think with that comes good faith, and with good faith we build a better community who's not too into that the regular talk that we see in particular spaces. And like I said, when I say particular spaces, I mean the spaces that see a dark face. I like to think that we can do a little bit more than just that. Even though it is entertaining, it's highly entertaining. It's just not something that's always been for me. But I want to thank you for joining me on this particular episode. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your participation. We will be looking to do things better in the future. I will try to get a more consistent basis as to how videos are going to be put up and how exactly streams are going to be done. Hopefully, hopefully the technical difficulties will be minimized now. Still got to figure out why the heck we got the double echo. And yeah, I want to thank you all for stopping by. So your thoughts matter. And I want you to remember to always be curious. I want you to always remember to pay attention to your own assumptions. But until then, stay curious, stay on point, stay authentic, stay opinionated. All right. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Thanks for coming by.